Yep. And there we have it. Week 2 is in the books. But from what we saw on Sunday, just when you thought that your team was the boy, they shit the bed. Yeah, that's right, man. It's any given Sunday. Y'all know how it goes from injuries to people like Cam Akers requesting trades because he's not getting a pill over there no more. That's what happens, man, when you get 22 rushes, man, and you go for 28 yards. And then the other guy's getting 15 rushes for 100. That shows that it's you. You're the problem, not the offensive line or the offensive scheme. But yeah, man, some crazy things went down in week 2, man, and we're going to talk about it. First, we're going to go over our overachievers. Overachievers for quarterbacks this week, man. Daniel Jones is my number one. Not only is he my number one, but he was the number one quarterback in scoring on Sunday. Who would have thought Daniel Jones was going to go out there and throw up 321 passing yards for 2 TDs and run on 9 rushes for 60 yards and another TD? Who really started Daniel Jones, man? That number 2 off my board, Joshua Dobbs. Nobody started Joshua Dobbs this week. Nobody, I guarantee it. You know why I know that nobody started him? Because he's on 95% of your waiver wires. That's right. Joshua Dobbs out of Arizona went off for 228 yards against Danny Dimes, scored a TD through the air, and had 41 rushing yards for a TD. He was the number 5 quarterback out of all the quarterbacks that played this week. Number 5. Another guy, man, it there's been a lot of controversy, man, through the years, and especially recently, man, with the wife situation and just, people all in his ear, man. And I think that it's just gonna take a little bit for Russ to clear his head. And Russell got a clear mind now. He also has a new offensive coordinator and a new head coach over there in Denver. Yeah. So went off for 308 and 3 TDs. He also ran the ball 6 times for 56 yards. Russell was getting it done through the air. He was getting it done on the ground. And that's against a defense that was ranked the best against the run. Russell Wilson got it in, man. If y'all got Russ out there, you might want to start thinking about putting him in your lineups. Running backs. Whew. I didn't see this coming. And I'm a man to tell y'all when I'm wrong. I was one of the main people talking about Boobie Gibson was going to be getting that rock, that Brian Robinson was probably going to be the number 2. And I'll admit when I'm wrong, I was wrong. Brian Robinson is the man over in Washington. Now, I will say that I did say that Washington was going to be awesome. They were an underdog, and everybody was writing them off. And I said that Sam Howell, Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and those 3 deadly receivers were going to be awesome this year. And they're just going to continue to get better and better. And guess what? They are. Brian Robinson was the number 1 running back this week. This guy went off for 18 rushes, 87 yards, 2 TDs, had 2 receptions, and 42 yards through the air. And he also scored a 2-point conversion. He was the number 1 running back in scoring on Sunday. Get him in your lineups. Keep him in your lineups. The man had a very, very decent week last week, and this week he blew up. I don't see anything changing. That offense is hot right now. Sam Howell got that thing rolling. So if you got Brian Robinson, man, make sure he in your lineups for week 3. Nobody's seen this one coming. Another overachiever out here, and I've been talking about him all year, Mr. DeAndre Swift, the best running back on the Eagles. And I said, all they got to do is feed that man and see what happened. And y'all seen what happened. He's better than Gainwell. He's better than Scott. He's by far the best running back on that roster. Give him the rock. Let him make moves in space. Let him make moves with no space. And he was doing all of that on Thursday. Man, that boy DeAndre Swift went off for 28 rushes, 175 yards, 3 receptions. Hey, what much more can you ask from a running back for 175 yards? 175 yards, D Swift? Is that how you feel, baby? Yeah, let's go. Raheem Mostert, number 3 on my list, who you also been hearing come out my mouth on a regular. He's part of the track meet, 22 mile per hour, 4.3. Raheem Mostert went off this week with 18 rushes, 121 yards, 2 TDs, and he had a reception for a couple yards. Raheem Mostert needs to be in starting lineups. I'm not saying he's your RB1, but I'm definitely saying he's your RB2. Keep him in your lineup. He shouldn't be on the bench. I don't care what those projections say. We need to start thinking about what we see with our eyes and stop worrying about what people are projecting. Honorable mention, I got to throw this guy out there. Cam Akers, 22 rushes for 28 yards. And he expects to continue to get the workload over there. Kyron Williams outshined him on the same day he had those 22 carries last Sunday. What you think happened? Coach this guy's way more of an efficient runner than you are. He's going to get the start. Cam acts up, has a fit, requests a trade, inactive for the week. Guy wasn't even playing. You might as well put him at the bottom of your roster and hope that he goes to a place that really needs a running back. Because other than that, Cam Akers, he's done for 2023. You heard it from here first. Kyron Williams went off for 14 rushes, 52 yards, a touchdown, but more impressively, had 10 targets through the air, 6 receptions, 48 yards, and a touchdown. So this man had 2 touchdowns, 14 rushes, and 10 targets. They try to get this man the ball 25 times. If Kyron Williams is on your team, he best to be in your lineup in week 3. We're going to go with Nico Collins, wide receiver, for number 1 wide receiver off the board. I could have went who we'll talk about at number 2, but I want to go Nico because nobody was getting Nico. Nico's still on the waiver wire right now. I guarantee he will be the number 1 receiver coming off that waiver wire in week 3. You heard it from me first. Nico Collins went off for 7 receptions, 146 yards, and a touchdown on 9 targets. Man, that man is an animal, and I don't see nothing stopping. The rookie is looking his way every time, and it shows. He had a decent game last week, blow-up game this week. He's here to stay. You heard it from Hasu. Number 2, Puka. Oh, my God. Puka goes off last week, the number 1 pickup in the waivers. And everybody's wondering this week, should I start him? Should I sit him? Should I see if he goes off again? Maybe he has a down game. The man had a better game than he did last week. 20 targets. Stop it. 20 targets. Man had 15 receptions and 147 yards. If that ain't the new Cooper Kupp, I don't know what is. When Cooper comes back, I don't see this guy having any problems with getting 10 to 12 targets along with Cooper. Those guys are going to be a menace, and straight animal. And Matthew Stafford, you might want to start thinking about getting him on your team, putting him on your bench. That way, when Cooper gets back, you're looking like a genius. Hey, you heard it from me at the end of week 2. Third receiver. This is a guy that nobody heard of. He's on 99% of waiver wires right now. Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds over there in Detroit had a solid week last week. Comes back this week with another solid week. 5 receptions, 66 yards, 2 TDs, the number 7 receiver on the week. Josh Reynolds. Who's going to pick him up? I am. So we're going to go to tight ends, everybody. Tight ends, Hunter Henry was my number 1 tight end overachiever this week. Hunter was the number 2 overall in scoring. Ended up with 6 receptions, 52 yards, and a TD. I didn't go with a guy that had high points a lot or the higher points because of touchdowns. I went with the guy that's getting high volume as far as targets, and that's going to be, he was number 10 this week, Zach Ertz. All the guys that scored more points than him maybe had 2-3 receptions, 3 or 4 targets, but they scored a touchdown. So their point total was maybe 1 point more. I went with him because he's consistently seeing 8 to 10 targets a game over in Arizona. They don't got much there but Hollywood Brown and James Conner. So Ertz is becoming a number 2 in the pass game. And because of that, he earned himself 6 receptions and 56 yards this week. And I don't see that changing. Yeah. So if Zach Ertz is out there on your waiver wire and you're having tight end problems, I go pick him up. And that's it for over and unders. And your I told you so. Come check us out at the end of the week for our starts, top 5 starts, top 5 sits on the week. It's Hot Soup Fantasy Football. I'll see y'all soon.